Hey everybody. So, I want to do a video giving you guys my idea of the direction of the S&P 500 over the coming weeks, months, and possibly years. As many of you will know, or if you don't know, you can go and check my YouTube channel. I called the top of the market around this time right here. It went up for a little bit longer, but ultimately it did exactly what I said it was going to do. If you want to go back, it's all there, it's recorded. Somewhere around that date is when I made that video. It's all here on my channel. So, recently I have been struggling with what is going on. What is this bounce off of this low? And today it's finally starting to make some sense to me. So if you don't know anything about market profile, I highly recommend you go out and do a quick study on it. But basically in market profile, it says that markets have what is termed a balance zone or a balance area. And what is a balance area? Well, basically a balance area is a giant disagreement between value, right? Like, what is value? Is value higher or is value lower? Should we be buying? Should we be not? Because you always want to be buying at value and you want to be selling when something is overvalued. You want to be buying when something's undervalued and selling when something's overvalued. And so what happens is markets tend to find these balance zones. And in many cases, these can be intraday, they can be longer period, they can be shorter period. And just to give you a couple of examples, here's an example of a balance zone where the market really did not have, if you look at the bottom left here, really did not have any clear direction. And then when we break out of that balance zone, we go into another balance zone and then we break out again. And then you can see it becomes directional. Even something like this can be considered a balance zone. It's an upward bias balance zone. So balance zones are just disagreements in value. Is a market overvalued? Is a market undervalued? And as new information flows into the markets disseminate that information and they come up with these balance zones. Now, what I see happening here is really very interesting because sometimes markets will probe outside of balance zones to see if the new level is new price is accepted, and if it's not accepted, it usually will come back into that balance zone. If it is accepted, it will continue on in the direction of whatever that new test was. But what I want to do here is just take a rectangle tool and show you what I think is going to happen. I think this whole area in here is going to become a new balance zone. Let me just correct that. Hopefully that'll look better. No, it doesn't look any better. Let's just go, I guess black would be okay. Yeah. So I think this whole area in here is going to become a balance zone. And so I think what we had up at these tops here was we had a probe outside of that balance zone. We tested it. Then we couldn't go higher. The market came back inside that balance zone. We came down low. It's funny because back in January, I really wanted to buy this level. And if you're following me in my stock Twitch room, you'll know I was shouting out that you wanted to buy some longs. But when we just blew through that balance zone low, I was just, to be honest with you, I was just too afraid that we were going to accept this new level and go lower. But as soon as we come back inside this balance zone, I now think this is the new home of the market for a very long time. Now, what I'm saying right now is it could last a week, it could last a month, it could last years. Okay, it really depends on multiple factors, but based upon Jerome Powell's comments that the Fed is going to use QE and it's going to continue to print money and it's going to continue to bail out the markets forever into eternity, I don't see us getting out of this balance zone without some type of major event. So here's what I predict might happen. I predict that we will probably get some type of China deal out, all right? And that China deal will look like, it will be okay, but it's not going to be anything that's enforceable. And basically, the Chinese do whatever the feck they want. Okay, they are a communist party. They do whatever they want. They have 1.6 trillion people compared to the consumers, compared to the U.S., which has 350 million people. They don't give a rat's bottom about the U.S. that much, other than for their own communistic interests, right? So I think they will strike some type of deal. It could potentially shoot the markets back up to this 286 level. Now, I don't think it's going to accept those levels. I think we're going to reject, and I think the bigger course of action is going to be an extended period of time, possibly weeks, possibly months, like years perhaps, where the market stays in this balance zone. And I would predict it. If you go back to me calling the top, my video where I called the top around this time, I said there was two possible scenarios: a very big correction or an extended period of time where we work down. Now, what I think is going to ultimately happen, but I think this is going to take a little bit longer. But just by the way structure is looking right now, I think something like this is in the cards. So let's just say we have this big ramp up, we've got this rejection, we got this, this is our probe up, we come back down into that balance zone, we went down here and tested. So let's say this was our balance zone that I was talking about. Okay, now when we rejected this balance zone, we came back up. What I think is going to happen is probably something like this. We'll retest those lows, come back in, retest those lows, come back in, and retest those lows. That is what structure is telling me so far. Now, I've spent 40 years basically becoming a master of market structure and understanding what the dynamics of a two-dimensional chart are telling me. Now, of course, this can all change with some very major event. You know, I mean, the markets are always subject to change. But what I'm telling you is basically what I see that will happen, assuming status quo takes place. Okay, assuming status quo takes place, I see an extended period of very ugly markets. Now, why am I not happy about this? Because this is really hard to trade from a short-term trader's perspective, because you have to patiently wait for these levels to be tested in order to find good trades. You have to wait for where is the rejection happening off of these balance zones, because that's the only safe place to trade it. Now, that's terrible, because you're as a short-term trader, that's going to make for what I call a lot of diddling in the middle. And when you have a big balance zone, you don't want to be diddling in here. So here's an example of that balance zone. If you take a short here, you might be instantly rewarded, but then you're going to get it smacked in the face, right? If you take a long here, you're going to get punished. And then it's going to take a long time for you to make any money, and then it's going to come back and smack you in the face. You're not going to make any money. So balance zones, especially large balance zones like this, they're extremely difficult to trade, right? I was really hoping that we rejected this level. This is where I started looking at trades. I hoped that we would reject this level. We didn't. I started looking at trades there. Once we got up into, now there is one other area you need to pay attention to in a balance zone, and I'm going to explain that to you right now. And that is the center of the balance zone, okay? Which is, again, if you go back to study market profile, this is called the point of control, right? And this is where the largest volume usually will take place, is around that point of control. And so the center becomes important because markets will fluctuate and return to that center quickly, right? So you want to pay attention, how does the market react off of that point of control? And as you can see here, we go down, we come back, we reject it. See how we test it here, reject it again. We come back, diddle around, we get through it, test the top, and then we reject it again. Then we come back, we reject it again. We come back, go through it, we build a new point of control. This time, we didn't reject it. I actually took another short trade around this level because I thought we might reject it. Now we're back up to the top where we have all these levels of rejection. So that's the other area you want to pay attention to in a balance zone. You want to pay attention to the center, and you want to pay attention to the extremes, and that makes trading very difficult unless you're extremely patient. The good news is that if you can patiently wait for one of these extreme levels, you can load the boat and you can make a lot of money, but you have to adjust your risk parameters around this, because when you're at one of these levels, you want to go hard. You got to wait for a long time till you get to one of those levels, but then you go hard and big and you take profits fast, because there should be instant reaction off of those levels. You should get instant reaction off of those levels. So right now, I think the only thing stopping the market from rejecting this level right here is going to be a China trade deal. And I think if that happens, we might go all the way back up and test this level, but I don't see it sticking for very long. I think we'll come back in and we'll move around. At least that's what all the financial data is telling me right now. Okay, so there you have it. There's my projection. How do you trade it? Extreme patience. Don't diddle in the middle. Okay? If you diddle in the middle, you're going to get your ass handed to you. If you do decide to diddle in the middle, take profits fast. If you get into a trade off of a level like this and you get an instant reaction, get out of Dodge. Do not hold on to it. It's funny, as I say that, I was just looking at my Twitter feed, and look what I see here. It's funny. Chief Powell says economy sending conflicting signals. That's funny. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. So what would happen if the economy was sending mixed signals? Well, it just confirms that balance zone. Okay? Hope you guys enjoyed that. Remember, please like my video. Please subscribe. Make a comment so more people can see this. I only have like 1,000 subscribers. But I think my value, considering I give this stuff away for free, I mean, I do offer a course, but I give so much away for free that can help you guys. I called this top. I tried to dime for it, right? You might have had to wait a while, but it worked out beautifully, right? But please comment, because if you comment, then more people will see it, and the search engines will find me. And if the search engines find me, I'm happier. And if I'm happier, I make more videos. So if you like what you see from me, and you want to see more from me rather than once every couple of weeks, you want to get into more specifics, then comment. Make this popular. Guys, I've spent 40 years discovering this stuff, and I'm giving it to you for free. Okay? Thank you. Love you all. Bye for now.